Hey everybody, it's Jason. Before we get started, a quick note. If you'd like to help out my buddy Dan with his expenses for his cat who's very sick, if you would, go to linktr.ee/DGOMI. That's linktree/DGOMI. The top link there will be his donation link. And if you're interested in supporting my work, while this show might be ending, I'm doing a lot of other work. You can go to patreon.com/StolenDress. Like everybody else during the pandemic, had a difficult time of it myself. So anything you would like to give towards some art, and there will be even more art coming soon, not just interviews, that would be highly appreciated. Thank you so much, and please enjoy this fantastic interview of me by Katie Mears. I'm Jason Klom, and this is Comedy on Vinyl. The year, 10 different ones. The album, 10 different ones. The artist, I think, 10 different ones. My guest is Katie Mears. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Now, you suggested this, and I don't want anybody to think that it was my ego making us do this, but you had some pretty good ideas for what your final episode on this podcast should be, so,
Right. Well, it was wrapping down. I didn't, want to come in and pretend I had some interest in some obscure album that people haven't heard of yet. I wanted to think about the podcast and all that it's been, because you've been doing this for so long. And so I invited myself to come on and interview you about 10 of your favorite albums, either ones that you found because of this show or that, go along with your love of this show. So I figured that would be a fun option for today.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm down.
Cool. So I have this list in front of me. Mm-hmm. Do you want to dive in? Do you want to talk a little bit about this pod and what it's meant to you, or what a big question.
I know. It's like you asked a me question of me. It's like,
then buckle up, dude. That's why we're here.
What has this podcast meant to me? I mean, it's funny because I have been in LA. By the time this comes out, I guess I'm no longer in LA. So wow. I was in LA for 18 plus years. And the fact that I started this 8 years into being there, or 7 years in, whatever it was, and it's like the most like connections I've made. I've honestly made some stuff with some of the people I've met through the show. So it's like and the biggest thing I've done in LA, which was a drinking game, the acting show, started at almost the exact same time as the podcast did. So it has paralleled the most stuff I've done and the best I've felt about myself. And so I don't know, it was there along for the ride. Although this first couple years are terrible. The first 2 episodes are unlistenable. No one should listen to those. Oh, they're terrible because so you haven't heard them. So I can tell you what they are, and then you can be like, oh, that's a terrible idea for a podcast.
Isn't Weird Al the very first one?
Yeah, Weird Al in 3 days.
What's so bad about that?
Oh, it's a great discussion, except, it's me, my best friend, I believe his wife, Ari, is there, my best friend Dan Gomiller, talking while the album plays. Not about it. While the album plays, about it. Did that for the first 2 episodes, and we're like, what the fuck are we doing? That's nothing.
A questionable choice.
This is nothing. And so that's why, from there on, we continue to talk about it. And
that's a hilarious idea.
Yeah, it's obscene. I hate it so much.
Oh, that's really funny.
I have since tacked on a thing at the beginning of both of those tracks and said, hey, this is not how we do the show anymore. So if you're starting now, please. And I've still had people complain.
Oh my God.
I warned you, don't listen to these episodes. They're shit.
Wow. So instead of taking them down, you're just like, let me just throw out that I don't like this. I respect that a lot.
Leave them up. I'm a fan of leaving them up because I feel like while I can't always justify my own, especially like there's some politically incorrect things because I've always been pretty PC, but there's still a few things where I'm like, ugh, that's a cheap joke. It's a gross joke. I wouldn't do it anymore. But if somebody called me out on it, I would happily talk about it, never excuse it. I just don't mind leaving it up because, I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe future creators will see it and be like, okay, yeah, everyone has to learn. Everyone has an arc.
I hope so. Important. And if somebody absolutely turns off because of those, I can't blame them, and I would never get angry at that.
Yeah, I think most people know by now that podcasts don't get good for a while. I think usually around 50 is where I start, because that means that typically a good year has passed and they've found their groove, they know each other, they know what they're doing.
I was no kind of interviewer before that either. I didn't know how to interview, and I don't think I thought this was an interview podcast until, like, Matt Besser came on. And then it was like, oh, I'm getting real people on the show. I should have actual questions. I don't know that that's a good episode either, but it's still, it was something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be difficult, especially when you're nervous, or especially when you're like preoccupied with other things.
Always.
And to get at the right question. I don't know if you've experienced this, but when you're interviewing someone who's professionally funny and charming, they often are smart enough to know to not just stop talking. So you have, as the interviewer, need to know when they're winding down, or like when they're searching for the next question. So you kind of do have to interrupt pretty commonly, which goes against some instincts of mine.
It really does. I hate interrupting, number one, and I don't like filling in the blanks, especially if it turns out to be the wrong blank or I filled it in the wrong way.
Oh, I do that all the time.
And it happens. So, but whatever. Whatever. People appreciate it when it's a conversation, and if you ask a couple questions they've never been asked before, or ask them in an intelligent way that's never been asked before, it's whatever. It's a fucking crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Wait, honestly though, wait till you hear my final episode, which I have pre-recorded. I've recorded that 6 months in advance.
Wow.
And I have never been more nervous. I've never sounded more like an idiot. Although at the end he did say, "Oh yeah, no, you've asked me several questions I've never been asked before." I'm like, okay, I did something of value.
Yes.
But I
every interviewer's dream is that, oh wow, that's such a great question.
Yeah,
you're
right.
Like, ah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A real thing that I've been doing for about 6 months that has been a life changer is if I start talking at the same time as someone else, especially on Zoom, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to keep going because I'm so tired of the and I just keep talking. So I err on the side of being rude, frankly.
It's fine. Especially, I had an interview, and I don't think I cut it together all that well either, not that long ago, where the delay was literally between 5 and 10 seconds because of their internet versus my internet, and
Woof.
They were on a phone and I was on a wired. For anybody out there, if you're going to do stuff, wire your computers up. You just have a wired internet connection if you can. It helps so much. Just a little tip. But yeah, and it was we were interrupting each other terribly. Or I'd make a joke that he genuinely found funny, but I wouldn't hear him laugh until 10 seconds after I told it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How do you even I would have given up so quickly.
I wanted to so bad. And he was so sweet. I think he was just a sweetheart, and he had some brilliant things to say, and it was a really good it was a good episode outside of that. And then when he did his Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy impressions, well, then that's the shit I eat up. Like, if you can do a good impression of a comedian, that's worth the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Especially the ones that aren't done that often, because that means they were really paying attention. What a gift.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, this would have been probably, I think I found your show around 2013 or 2014, because it was when I was in early-ish college. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I was first really getting into nerdy comedy, because I had a radio show where I played 2 hours of comedy a week.
That's amazing.
And it was a blast. I learned so much, got exposed to so much. They didn't want me to have the radio show because they were scared I wouldn't be able to keep it clean, because it had to be super, super clean for Hamilton, New York radio. Mm-hmm. So they gave me like 8 to 10 p.m. on Saturday nights, assuming that I would say no. And I was like, oh, joke's on you guys. I don't have any friends, and I'm ready to do this. And it ended up being just one of my favorite things. I got obsessed with comedy, but finding your show, like if I wanted to listen to an older album that I didn't really have any context for, to listen to it and then be able to hear you and a guest chat about it just meant the world. Really helped situate things and helped me to realize, like, oh, this is something that lots of people give shits about, and that, there's a whole world of people who care about this old world of comedy, and that meant a ton.
Oh, well, that means a lot to hear. It is an increasingly smaller world, which is fine. It is what it is. But because I've struggled to get people, sometimes some people have not done the show because they're just, I never listen to comedy on vinyl. And I'm like, well, okay, how can we work around this? And a few times I totally just disregarded the vinyl thing. I've stopped doing that since. But yeah, it's gotten harder. Like, some people didn't listen, like Jackie Cation fully admitted, she's like, I didn't listen to comedy albums growing up. And she's brilliant. She's hilarious. But she was a special person. She watched specials mostly. So she watched TV. So it's hard. It is a thing that drops off. You have to be a specific type of nerd to love the theater of the mind part, or have been given a bunch of vinyl, which I was. So that's why I started listening to it that way.
You know that joke towards the beginning of Let's Get Small, where Steve Martin says at the beginning of every show, I'd like to do something impossible, so I'm going to suck this piano into my nose? Like, as a child to hear that and just be on stage and be like, wait, what did he do? I have no idea what just happened, because there's a pause and the whole audience laughs.
Loves it.
And that's part of the fun of, like, do you know what he did?
I don't, but here's what somebody once proposed. They were like, oh, I always assumed that was a cocaine joke, that there was a line or a fake line of cocaine, or he just pretended to sniff a line off the piano. I'm like, I guess that could be the joke. I don't know. But
that doesn't seem like it would get the eruption that it got.
It doesn't. Yeah. So, Steve, you're welcome on the show.
So this is part of the game, you know?
Yeah.
And you can only hear it, you just don't understand.
Yeah. And it gives you this false confidence that anything can be funny, too, because you're like, oh, I wonder what that was. Let me figure it out. Maybe I could be that funny.
Try and, like, reverse engineer it.
Yeah, which is impossible, but fun.
Well, let's go ahead and dive in. I have a list in front of me that you gave me a bit ago of 10 vinyls that we're going to talk through. We're going to start at number 10, and that is Conan O'Brien and the Legally Prohibited Band at Third Man. What a title.
Yeah, right. Now
talk to me about this.
I've listened to it only once, and I'm trying to remember where the comedy is on here. So this is a stretch. The only if I'm not mistaken, because Third Man does like straight up live recordings. Let me see. I don't even know if there are any tracks on this. There might be tracks.
If you're listening, he has the album in front of him. He's opening it up.
I do, and I didn't know what order we were going in because I forgot what order I sent them to you, and I do not have them sitting here in order. They do have proper tracks, but I feel like he does talk and bullshit between them, like he does comedy. And the thing is, so I would say my three biggest like comedy heroes before I started this podcast are Mel Brooks, Weird Al, and Conan. And like Conan was somebody I thought I was gonna be. I thought I was gonna be like a talk show host. That it never even occurred to me, by the way, when I was doing a podcast. Oh, you're kind of doing that. You're kind of doing that. And it never occurred to me until like years later. But Conan's a big hero of mine. I've seen him live a few times. You know, I've seen his show live a few times. Got my mom the little VIP tour behind the scenes once or twice because I know a few of the writers.
Wow.
Never met Conan personally, but I was like, well, I like, because of the podcast, I felt I had to have some representation of him on the show.
Or he's like a big part of your story.
He is. Like, he was, when I started doing comedy, which I have to put in quotes because I was 13 and recording in the attic of my home with a VHS camera.
Oh my God.
We would have these sketches where I would make fun of Conan sometimes, like some of the, because I hated Conan when he came on, because I loved Dave. I hated him so much. Then I turned 15.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I turned 15 and I turn on some fucking special where he's like, hey, it's like, I don't remember what the fucking setup was, but long story short, there's a turkey who shits presents on the audience. I'm like, this is fucking terrible. I turned it off. 16, I turn it on again, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get the absurdity. And suddenly Conan clicked with me and becomes like my hero. Hated him. Nobody can replace my Dave, even though Dave was on another network. And then became a hero of mine, and then I don't know, like, and I've always wanted to meet him and sit down with him for 5 seconds, but, you know, I'm not in the 1%, so I'm never going to get in a room with him as far as podcasting is concerned. So, no insult, I'm just saying there are a lot of rich people on this podcast. And I don't know, I've always found him funny. I'm looking forward to every iteration of his show. Every time it changes, I'm like, oh, this will be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just a hero.
He's got a big change coming, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a variety show. Did I hear that correctly?
Not sure.
I don't even know. Like, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I mean, that's always been his strength, is sketch. Yeah. Like, the sketches that were in between the interviews that he didn't care about doing. You know.
Right.
That he was good at anyway, but he didn't care about doing them, and not in the way that Dave did. Like, they had a total different type of disconnect from their guests.
Right.
So,
did you watch the documentary about this tour?
Yes, I did.
Because for people listening, this is the album from the tour that he did during that like awkward 6 months after the Jay Leno fiasco before he moved to TBS. Is that right? Yeah.
I was supposed to go to one of those Tonight shows too. I was supposed to go to that last Tonight show, and it never happened.
What happened? What fell through?
I can't remember. I feel like my wife stood in line for tickets, And then some shit happened where we either got the tickets, and then some shit happened with my terrible job at the time, and I couldn't go. Something prevented me, and I was livid about it.
Yeah. That's worth quitting a job over if he's your guy,
yeah, I know.
frankly.
I know. I should.
I remember watching that documentary when I didn't have a foundation of who Conan was, and being like, I don't know if I like this person.
Oh, yeah.
It does not paint him well. He looks like a maniac in
He absolutely does. Yeah. No, and I mean, that's one of those things where, like, I've applied, when I was looking to do production work again, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll try. And then once I saw the documentary, I'm like, I'm kind of glad I didn't get hired, because even if this is a bit, I'm thin-skinned, and I couldn't handle the bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't handle when comedians live in the bit too much. Which,
Buddy,
I get the temptation.
That's a lot of it.
I know. I get the temptation, but, yeah, no. I'm a big fan of meeting your heroes. He might be one who could really fuck with that. Yeah, he might. I don't know. He might be, because I think he's genuinely a good human being, but his temptation to play the asshole might overpower that. So I don't know.
Right. I'm just so skeptical. I'm very prejudiced, I suppose, but I just assume anyone who has over X amount of money is a dick.
Same. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pull away from that, but I understand. Okay, number 9 on our list, we have the Ruddles soundtrack.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah? Is that pronounced correctly?
Oh, yeah, absolutely right. Oh my God, have you never seen it? Have you never
I
seen
haven't.
it?
Tell me everything.
You might hate it. So here's the thing.
I did some preliminary Googling.
Sure.
I obviously am familiar.
The original thing I sent you was this single, which I've actually never listened to, but these songs are all on there, but I couldn't pass up. So this is a single, which I just love because their photos are not on the cover of the original. Long story short, the Ruddles is a Beatles parody group that Eric Idle created, but all the music was done by Neil Innes, who plays kind of the John Lennon character. And Neil Innes sings, I think, every part, plays almost every part. This is Neil Innes' album. As the movie might be Eric Idle's masterpiece, but it's Neil Innes' music.
Interesting. Because the music was way better than I thought it would be when I heard it was a parody band.
Perfect. It is. They supposedly got sued. One of theirs was so close sounding.
Really?
Yeah.
But if you're under parody law, unless it's different in England.
And that's the thing. The parody law, I think, gets misunderstood even by me half the time. Like, there's so much, there's not as much wiggle room as you think there is, I think. And that's the problem. And this is the cover of the actual soundtrack, which is, there we go. So there's the 4 obvious, they're just straight rips of Beatles things. And some of the songs are basically nonsense Beatles songs. But they're perfect because Neil Innes had this immense attention to detail, and I love mockumentaries and I love fake histories and I love again, we were talking about this beforehand, where you set yourself up with a world that you control but sounds like it might be part of the real world, and there's just so much to it, and also
it's sort of like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Eric Idle in this is the Paul part, but he's also the narrator and the news guy following the story. George Harrison makes an appearance in this, because if I'm not mistaken...
Wait, George Harrison's in it?
He's in it briefly. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the things he paid for. One of the many Python movies he paid for. I could be wrong, but I think he did. This is also filled with a who's who. I mean, Paul Simon is in this trying to act. You've got Bill Murray is in this. Billy Crystal. I think Martin Short. John Belushi, I think, is in this. A lot of SNL people. But the music's good. The music's beautiful and brilliant, and I will say, when I interviewed Neil Innes, it's one of the highlights of the podcast, because he just, was very open, and he was a genius. And I don't know, there's not a lot of people who can top that interview.
Yeah, was he just very gracious with his time? What did you guys talk about?
We talked about, I was most interested in, obviously, the Ruddles, but also the fact that, like he's parodying the Beatles in this very big, open way, but he also, his band, the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, were friends with the Beatles. They were in the same art scene as the Beatles, so they were all hanging out at the same time, all doing roughly the same shit. And
okay, interesting.
And they are in... Okay, here. This is the weird thing. This is in here it's the Tragical History Tour, but, the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band are in the Magical Mystery Tour movie, playing some parts. So, that's how close they were. So he was parodying a buddy of his, but he is this crossover between Python and the Beatles, and he's like this center point. Like John Hodgman, I always feel like is this weird center mass of the internet world. At least a lot of things I love, like some of my favorite podcasts and artists, also have this relationship to him. Neil Innes has that with the fucking Beatles and Python.
Okay, he's like the fulcrum.
He really is, and underappreciated over here, I think.
Yeah, clearly. I think it's a Mel Brooks quote that you have to love something to parody it well, and it seems like he knows his shit there.
Oh yeah, and he sounds so much like John Lennon that it's remarkable. And Paul, he does them all very well. Like, if he needs to sound like them, I don't even know. That's one of those interviews where I was very nervous, and I have no idea how well it went. I remember liking it, and he was very kind and was up for doing it again, but he passed away before he could. So, but that was a good one. That was a really good one.
That's so special that you got him.
Yeah, it was nice. He was still, the thing is, like, again, that influential, doing okay, but he was also, like, kickstarting a record. And I was like, why are you kickstarting? And, like, the shit he was selling off as part of, like props and things from very important stuff, as far as I'm concerned, in comedy history and music history, for very little. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Makes me sad when that stuff goes away.
Yeah. Why do you think that the Rentals isn't more in the canon? Like, I never hear it being talked about.
Wow. I don't even know, because it's not strictly Python, but it is obviously very Python-esque. You would think because of that, and I don't know, maybe it just disappears too much. Maybe it's too much like the Beatles. Maybe it's not off-kilter enough in terms of what it's parodying to stand out to some people. But to me, that's what I love about it. I love that in some cases it is almost unrecognizably different. Like, it's almost exactly the same thing.
Right. Man, sounds like they nailed it, if that was what they were doing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Let's move on to number 8, another international pick here. We have Great White North by Bob and Doug McKenzie. What a choice!
Come on. Have you heard this record?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I am familiar with them, and I've seen their sketches, but...
Sure. Well, that's the thing, too, is, like, I haven't seen all that much SCTV. I know that my mom made me watch Strange Brew when I was too young to get any of it. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Okay.
I don't know
my brother loved it when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that was so it was a thing in your family a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A bit, yeah.
This record was suggested to me by the writer Ilan Mastai, who wrote, I can't remember the name of the movie. I'm very sorry, but he's also written on This Is Us or one of those fucking shows that I don't bother to watch because it's a drama and I don't care. Nothing against him. I don't give a damn about those shows. But he suggested this, and I'm like, okay, this could be fun. But it's the most Canadian thing on the planet. It is based it is a leap that was made where Canadian content regulations, which I'm obsessed with, basically dictated that you had to have at least so much strictly Canadian content on your show. And there was this gap in the programming, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody's telling me this the other day, and they're like, yeah, you need a minute of Canadian content on your show, explicitly Canadian content. And their middle fingers were, let's make the two most stereotypical Canuck guys with toques on who sound like this and, talk and drink beer all the time. And that's what they decided to do.
Let's give them exactly that.
Exactly. And it becomes the biggest thing that SCTV ever created, outside of a million brilliant careers. But this record is also meta. It is about the making of a record. It does not give a fuck. From what I understand, also, the Strange Brew album might be the same. I think we're going to be discussing that soon on the podcast with somebody. Soon, meaning they've already heard it. So I hope you guys like that episode. But I really like meta records. I love a record that knows that it's a record.
Seems like you're really into fourth wall and what is and what isn't. That's your jam.
It's heaven to me. It is heaven to me. And it'll come up again in this list. But it's I don't know. It's a cheap thing, too. It's also very cheap if it's done wrong, but this doesn't do it cheaply, and the record sounds good. The music's great. Geddy Lee is on here. It's so good. I don't even, and by the way, I couldn't tell you what any of the sketches are about. I can't remember. It's just one of those things that I will listen to and know I'm enjoying it. I haven't memorized it. It's none of that. It's just, I love that it's meta. I love the character work. And, and also by now I will have interviewed Dave Thomas. So, yeah, he just agreed to do it the other day. So, provided nothing goes bad, then I don't know. It's very meta. It's very Canadian. I love Canadian things. And it's anything from roughly this period that is Canadian is also right on the cusp of Canada taking over American comedy for good. And
right, like just for reference, John Candy, Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy, like this is the world that we're talking about. These
Rick
old
Moranis
80s, 90s
obviously is one of
TV.
them. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's insane.
so I was looking up Rick Moranis data, right? And so this album is 81,
Yeah.
and then Strange Brew is 83, and then 84 is Ghostbusters. And then it's just like, bam, Rick Moranis everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I
He
feel
was my
like I didn't
childhood.
think he was appreciated as much. And then when that assault happened last year and the whole world was furious, they're like, don't you mess with Rick Moranis.
Well,
it made me so happy.
also, like that poor motherfucker, he quit the business because he lost his wife and needed to take care of his kids. And people are like,
Right.
why aren't you acting more, Rick? And he's like, I'm fine financially.
Yeah.
I lost my wife. I have children who need to be raised.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
he was just like, bye, I'm going to go be a single dad and do my thing.
Though in the interim, it should be pointed
Incredible.
out, he made 1 or 2 comedy albums, Hanukkah albums.
Sure.
And one was a Western one, and one was strictly a Hanukkah album. Yeah, so he did give some stuff, but people just didn't pay attention to the fact that those were out there.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a couple cinnamon rolls left on this podcast, but he might be the like king of the cinnamon rolls currently on this list.
God, I love him so much. I played Dark Helmet on stage once, and I've got to say that was like a highlight. Absolutely.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Little Shop was enormous for me growing up. I'm such a musicals person, and he's
Same.
incredible, and he's the only well-cast Seymour I've ever seen. They always pick hunks, and it never makes sense.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he's
Jake
perfect.
Gyllenhaal, great. Yeah,
Give me a
good
break.
job. Come on now, that man is never.
And
met a
Jonathan
difficult
Groff
thing in
did
life.
it.
Really?
Come on.
Come
yeah.
on. No, sorry. Yeah,
Insulting.
It's one of those things too where I think as a little nerdy kid I was never actively looking up to him, but I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like in the back of your head you're like, I could maybe do that.
Right. When you see famous people that don't look like traditional famous people, you get reminded of like, oh yeah, character actors are a thing, and this is like, you know, you need all types of people to build out a world in a movie or TV show.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I also think, boy, I want to do the show that I'm in. We just do a stage reading every, and I want to do Little Shop so badly. One month we performed in a stage where they were doing a showing of Little Shop, where they were doing Little Shop, and I'm like, guys, it's right the fuck here. Can we please
Come on! It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the freaking best.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Sorry,
number
I'm talking
7.
about nothing. I'm rambling like a motherfucker.
Oh my god, no! Have fun, it's your show, let's live our lives. But I have
sure.
to say, number 7 coming up next is perhaps the most Jason thing on this list.
Please.
And that is Pat Paulson for
I
president.
thought you might say that. Okay, good. Here's the funny thing. I don't know if I've listened to this one, but I know the bits. Like, I know plenty of the bits. And Pat Paulson, oh, God. I mean, if you want to talk about, like... So... Bob Newhart is considered to be like the epitome of deadpan. He's whatever's below deadpan, where he's playing like he's half dead. And oh, this is a broken fucking sleeve. This is destroyed.
So for people who don't know, this is a fake presidential candidate.
Yes, he's a fake president. This is from, if I'm not mistaken, it's got to be 68. Yeah, 68. And everybody, I mean, you know, everybody was so angry with everybody post Kennedy, and it just only got worse and worse and worse. And I am obsessed with political comedy once we get to Nixon for sure. Even though they all those albums run into one another and basically are the same record. There's at least 13 of them that I know of, and they all are basically the same record. Pat Paulson is just doing these brilliantly satirical bits about, let's see, what they gotta have the guns one on here. Because I know he did a lot of these on the Smothers Brothers, but he was a guy.
Right, I was gonna say, and he's perfect for Smothers Brothers.
Oh, he was so good on that show, and he would just do. Oh, here's an actual bit where he physically has a censored box on his mouth. This is back when censorship actually existed, and it was okay to complain about censorship because censorship actually happened.
I wrote down a quote from one of his things that I watched that I had to. This is the only full quote I wrote down, but it was so amazing. He's like denying that he's actually running, and he said, "They seem to assume that I'm lying when I state that I am not a candidate for the presidency. True, all the present candidates once denied that they had any intention of running, but the fact that I am also a liar doesn't make me a candidate."
And it's a lot of that. Like, it's so perfect, but it's also like nobody was doing this shit outright. It was not as cool to fucking shit on the president or politics in general. You had to accept that it was there. And he was an older guy. He was older than the Smothers Brothers. So he was also coming on as, he did stand up, but this was his character. His bit was, it was always Pat Paulson for president. And I have,
And visually it works so well, because he looks like the most boring guy in the room.
100%. And sounds like because he would talk like this and... just, those were and he would do this. What's the fucking bit about the guns? It's not on here. It doesn't look. Why did I think it was? It doesn't matter.
The gun control speech?
Yeah. But long story short, he does it on the Smothers Brothers, and basically we shouldn't have gun control, and then his gun accidentally goes off, kills the cameraman, and then that's the end of the bit. It's perfect. It's perfect. The argument is there are enough idiots out there that maybe we should have some gun control, and it's a simple bit. And this was like, I have the Pat Paulson bumper sticker somewhere, I've got a pin somewhere. I don't collect a lot of shit related to this stuff, but this in particular I love, because I was running a fake presidential campaign for fucking 12, 16 years. And
right, and when I talked Will Rogers with you, he's another one who had a fake presidential campaign.
It's something that I'm fascinated with. There, like so many people have. What's Gracie? Gracie Allen. She also had one. It's one of the few female-led ones that I can remember. And I think wrote a book. Oh no, I have the Pat Paulson book too. There's a book that goes with this book. So there's a book. There's the album. There's all this stuff. I'm just obsessed with people thinking it's a fun idea to do a fake presidential run. And while by the time when I was a kid, Howard Stern was doing it, and it was supposed to be look at this new funny hilarious thing, but people had obviously been doing it for a century.
And you were like, Howard, get with it, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, come on, look back at Pat Paulson. Yeah, I totally knew who that was as a kid. Let's pretend.
Yeah, or my boy Will, and I'm sure lots of people before then.
Yeah.
I believe, if memory serves, it was Will Rogers for president and the four Marx Brothers as the joint vice president. What a dream.
Oh, I love it. And not to totally, I didn't pick a Dick Davey record for this because I feel like I've talked about him enough. But he was this Minneapolis DJ named Dr. Bop ran for president, and his vice president was Dick Davey. So that was their.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was just an excuse to have something to talk about when Dick came into Milwaukee. I'm sorry, when he would come into Milwaukee and come on the station.
Gotcha. There were also a fair amount of Stuart Colbert
for sure
jokes back then. Yeah, it just continues to crop up. It's sort of like fan casting. Just people wish, people hope, people are so tired of bullshit. Let them have it, Mm-hmm. It's a little fantasy.
It's getting a little too scary, though, because it's starting to feel like Dwayne Johnson might actually want to run, and that's just a terrible idea. It's
Kanye 2024, let's go. Okay.
It says a lot about me that when he first announced that, by the way, back in 2015, that I took it as an affront, and I had to make a joke about it. I had to make a gag video about it. I'm like, fuck you, Kanye. Don't step on my shit. You can't be serious, but I'm going to, exactly.
Yeah. Get out, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, rolling into number 6, we have Songs of Couch and Constellation by Katie Lee. This is 57.
This is so good. I forget that I can't believe it's that old. Jesus Christ. Well, when I interviewed her, she was 96.
Oh, wow.
Maybe. And still one of the most lively interviews I've ever had in my life. It was by phone. She was in Arizona at the time. She was an environmentalist, an activist her whole life. This is the only version of this record. You can find 1,000 versions of this. This is the only one with actually her on the cover. The rest are just random women, models, and some random dude.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why on the reissues they didn't keep her on the cover. No idea. Odd. And she's barely even considered to be a part of this record because I don't think she wrote these. But she's the performer of these folk songs that are all of this. This is so of an era, late 50s, mid to late 50s, where the whole gag, and I've got other records like this, the whole gag is analysis, as they would call it at the time. It was just, let's talk about analysis. Because
let's get Freudian in here. Yeah.
And it was a mix of this is the new thing, but isn't it funny that people are talking about their feelings? All
right. Well, isn't this album pretty notorious in record collecting circles and things like that?
It might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see the
I think it's seen as an early counterculture.
That makes sense.
Specimen.
It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it touches upon a lot of, as they did at the time. It was probably, would it have been, the term sick humor wasn't a thing yet, I don't believe, but it's on that level.
It's a few years before the sickness.
Yeah, you said 57, right?
Proper,
so, yeah. Yeah, so, but the songs are very good. She's got a beautiful voice. Like, it is one of those things where, like, you can do it.
It sounds genuine.
Exactly.
If you don't listen to the lyrics.
If you do, like, a comedy, if you do a comedy music record and you don't have, a genius musician, bunch of musicians putting it together, you probably have not done your work. Just because that's why Weird Al works, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're all very good at what they do, and this is a brilliantly put together record. And I'm not the only person. Like, I got an email after I interviewed Katie Lee, who's like, I've never had a crush on a 90-year-old woman before, but I don't know what to do about these feelings. You can't not. She was the most just fucking energetic, like, just magnetic, beautiful soul. Like, all she wanted to do at the time was, like, she was talking about, if I remember correctly, because she was talking about, I apologize for not remembering the exact, it was some part of Arizona that she was very big on the preservation of. And then in the background, she's like, I'm sorry, there are these fucking motorcycles driving through. She's like, I wish I'd like put up a trip line so that, basically knock their heads off. She was just like the most like violently protective of the environment. Well,
didn't she like save some rivers or something? Like I remember reading about
she had a huge part and stuff like that. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So her whole life was spent just mostly taking care of like the country that she genuinely sang about. She's one of those. She's a part of that pie, whereas somebody who like did folk music but actually gave a fuck, rather than just went on to having a career and doing nothing about the stuff she claimed to love. And oh my God! And this record is like a blip in her career, but she had plenty to say about it. And just I don't know, just a great fucking interview. And then. She passed away like a year after that, but thank Christ her archives went somewhere. That's one of the things that scares me the most is when these people die, sometimes those archives go in the garbage.
Heartbreak.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And she is so talented, and, there's lots of musical comedians where the bit is sort of connected to the fact that the music isn't very good.
Yeah.
But those are less likely to stick around. Like, if I think in my head about those ones, they didn't really turn into as much. We can name names later on.
Sure, yeah. And there are plenty of people who are just like, there's always the thing where all comedians hate a comic who brings a guitar up on stage, and I kind of get that. But it's also like, if that's just an element of what you do and you're kind of barely doing a thing, it's like, when this whole record is a well put together, well oiled fucking musical album, and it's good, and it's just weird to me that it's 44 minutes or whatever of jokes about going to see a psychiatrist. It's strange that was something people bought, but they did.
I'm a big fan of comedy that's not necessarily musical, but there is just like a guitar or a piano in the background.
Sure.
I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I love when I see it. You don't see it as much nowadays. But
no, I mean, the only person I can think of is Zach Galifianakis, and I don't even know if he's done that in years. Probably not.
Dimitri Martin used to do it. Nick Thune would do it. Yeah. Okay. There's a story of Dimitri Martin showing up at the Cellar, like, with his guitar and accoutrement, and getting a bunch of shit, because, you're totally right that a lot of comedians feel defensive about it. Mm-hmm. I heard an interview once with Bo Burnham where he was talking about how it is sort of cheating because you can play a chord on a guitar and make someone feel a feeling that might take you a paragraph verbally to make them feel, which I thought was a really insightful way to put it. It's a shortcut, But if you have something worth saying, then that shortcut shouldn't be a detriment. It's a tool.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is. Okay, next on this list, I have to preface, this might be the hipsteriest thing on this list, and I know that that's true because when I Googled it, your face was the fourth Google image result. This is A Gift You Never Asked For from Friends You Never Had by Jared Jeffries and Peyton Brown, 2017.
This record is, okay, so I have to do some full disclosure shit because right now, I quote-unquote distribute this, which basically means I enable them to possibly sell more through my very tiny record label, right? Because I love it. But it was sent to me by Jared because he loved the podcast. And he's like, look, I've been working for 4 years trying to get this record finished. And it is nothing if not like a tribute to / like It is, well, I don't want to say that. That would sound like it's a ripoff. It's not a ripoff. It's very much a Fire Sign record. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. It's a Fire Sign record, but it came out in, again, 2017. Thank you. I should know this, but I don't. And they put it together themselves, and it's so dense that, like a Fire Sign record, I have trouble getting through it. But that is a compliment, because it just means
there's just
so much going on.
Just packed in.
Yeah.
It's a concept album, is that right?
Exactly right. There's a lot about tech, there's a lot about medicine, and it uses a lock loop at the end of the second record to drive home a point about technology that I've never heard anybody do before. Because usually a lock loop is meant to stop the track entirely, and you can't move on to the next track without physically moving it. But this rarely does a lock loop end where there's dialogue being said as it keeps looping, and I don't like to give it away, but I love it. And they've also never released this digitally, and that's where the hipster stuff comes in. And it is an exclusively vinyl thing, so I never pushed them to do digital. I would never do that, because they love the format. And this is the only, I think the reason this is symbolic is because in my time doing the show, this is the first thing that came about during my time doing the podcast that really felt like the kind of shit I was talking about. Because I have a ton of friends who, or at least acquaintances who run all of the comedy record labels, and they're usually putting out stand-ups. I get it. That's what there is. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing what I want to do, which is sketch comedy. But this is, again, deeper than anything I would ever write, more of a concept than I could ever fucking put together, and too hard to fucking keep track of if you have my brain. Whatever's wrong with my brain has a lot of trouble keeping track with it. And I love it. I love all the jokes. There's some no, I don't want to give away any jokes, but there are a couple really good jokes that are punny and stupid, and at the same time you're meant to contemplate the meaning of life and what technology is doing to us in a way that is new. Like, it's not like.
Can you give us just like a little elevator pitch about
I can't.
The line is?
You know what? I can read the back of it. I can read the back of it.
Read the back of it for us.
So, because again, it's been a while since I've heard it. I picked it mostly because of what it meant to me, the fact that it came out during the show, you know. You're only
so cool they look to you.
Yeah, well, it was very kind of them to send it to me. And I'm like, hey, do you want me to distribute it in quotes? And they said, sure, why not? You're only now hearing about Peyton Brown and Jared Jeffries, but not for long. The album you hold in your hands barely contains some of the most comedy happening today, and possibly more. There's nothing more thrilling than two great comedy minds coming together, and this album proves how rare that is. I'm pleased to say that it was a long time coming, but now the record's been pressed, and we think you will be too. So that's just a comedy thing on the back. It doesn't tell you what it's about. Here's the problem. There's a lot of food, pop culture, medicine, and science, and time travel, if I'm not mistaken, which, by the way, is something I'm also obsessed with. So I can't tell you what it's about. I wish I could. Oh my God, are you kidding?
What does it mean to be obsessed with time travel?
I love it. It is the cheapest concept, unless you do it brilliantly. Like, one of my favorite movies growing up was Back to the Future, so I think it's inevitable that kind of thing is going to stick in your brain. But like my podcast with Dan, who I previously mentioned, which is called Dan and Jay's Comedy Hour, has only gotten funny in recent years, and that's because we've finally introduced like other dimensions. And like yesterday or today, I just released an episode where we interview Lizzie Borden, because why and
so you've got a lot of lore, a lot of roads in and out of yourselves.
If you can do that well, which is usually better than I do it, then I appreciate it. And again, I apologize to Jared Jeffries and Peyton Brown for not pitching this record as well as I could. If you guys want to hear a Fire Sign album that is not a Fire Sign album and is put together with very pristine, beautiful digital technology, because that's how they put it together, it's a very good record. It's just very funny, and there are a couple jokes that I just don't want to ruin that did make me laugh, and they're obviously the most punny, lowest common denominator jokes, but that's fine. I love them.
Yeah. What can you tell us about Jared and Peyton themselves? Who are they?
Oh my God. They're two very funny comedians who, if I'm not mistaken, at one point they were both in Chicago. I think now one's in Chicago, one's in New York. I know more about Jared only because Jared is also, unfortunately, a very good musician. I hate how good of a musician this guy is. He's put out 3 EPs during the pandemic. And they are all 3 entirely different sounds, and they're all beautiful. They're all very, very good. And I've spoken to them both, but Jared makes his presence known a little more in terms of like constantly putting shit out more than most people, so that's why that is standing out. But yeah, I mean, I know them most as Chicago comedians, and they're I don't know, and this was just their passion. I don't know why either. Like, I don't know enough about the stuff that they were obsessed with growing up. I actually would like to have them both on at some point to talk about. Well,
yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of time left to do that, but yeah, it would be a good idea to maybe make that happen.
Yeah, the vague philosophical future. I had texted some Canadian friends, by the way, before you and I talked to get their hot takes on the Great White North, because I wanted to make sure I understood, the full Canadianness of it. Because I have more Canadian friends than I thought I did.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's jump back in. Okay, number 4 on your list, we have Think Fuzzy by Dawson and Harrell. This is 65. Is that right? Tell me about these guys.
Let me see. It says 66, but it might be 65, honestly.
I said 65 on Wikipedia, so who do we know? Who do we trust?
Oh, you know what? Here's the funny thing. It says 65 on the back and 66 on the front, which doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
Is this a backyard pressing? What is this?
This is so good. Oh, yeah. Basically. Yeah. That's how I want to talk about it. So this is not the one I first discovered. The one I first discovered by them is called Mr. Silverspitz Dawson. And the only reason I grabbed it is because the cover is a dog in a man's suit. And it's so stupid. It's a real dog. It's a real dog, and I think they probably put a suit over. I don't remember how they did it, but it doesn't matter. These guys, okay, how do I even begin? So, I was doing these episodes called Family Albums back in 2018. I still would like to do some more before I end, and I might. So by the time this is coming out, hopefully you've heard some. Where I talk with like family members basically usually family members of people who have died, who made really good comedy albums. So that's why I talked to John Meter's widow. I talked to this guy, Rand Hughley, whose dad, Jay Hughley, made this one dumb trucker comedy album, but his dad's life story is fascinating. And then I found these guys, who it turns out, I didn't know until later, are in this book called Enjoy the Experience, which is a book that's like this thick that is filled with vanity presses, which is, I have a problem with that term, but that's just me being picky. These are, both their records were self-funded, self-released, and you can only buy them by mail order, but they paid enough money.
So like a vanity project, that's the idea?
Yeah, exactly.
Self-published book.
And it is more of a vanity project even than anything I've ever done, because these guys were not professional comedians in any sense of the word. These were two guys from Virginia, one of whom lived in New York. Yeah.
Oh my God! I grew up in Virginia and I live in New York.
You're in New York. Do you have family you go visit in Virginia?
Yeah, my whole family's still there.
Okay, they're all still there. Okay, so what would happen is, Harold lived in Virginia and stayed there his whole life. He worked in D.C., so he worked in the Pentagon with computers. So he had a lot of money. That's how he could afford to press 2 separate records and pay for ads in the Village Voice and shit. Dawson was a cartoonist, which like the first cover doesn't really show that at all. This cover though, like the art that he does on here is beautiful. It's wonderful, and you can see there's a walking, talking computer there. And he hand lettered the back of these. Beautiful stuff. I love how they look.
Yeah.
He lived in New York. He worked for like Reebok or Foot Locker or Lady Foot Locker. He worked for a few different corporate entities doing like graphic design and cartoons his whole life. But once a year he'd go down to Virginia, visit his buddy Lemuel or Lem Harrell, and they would improvise. Lem. It's adorable. And they would sit and improvise around a wire recorder first, and then eventually they had a reel-to-reel. And I didn't know what I was getting into when I interviewed Dawson, who was the one who's the only one alive at the time. He actually just passed away this January, so neither of them are left. Talked to him for a while. He didn't remember a whole lot. His brother was there to fill in the details. But when he told me that they would get together like once a year, get a big old pack of Pepsi and record for 8 hours at a stretch.
Oh my God! And that's a wild idea.
Now you'd think with 8 hours of recording, you'd come back with maybe some of the most brilliant comedy that's ever been put together. It's fine. It is barely comedy. It's barely comedy. Like, literally, one of the voices he does is of his dog named Silver. And it's just this. Oh, hi. Oh, look at you. Oh, that's fun. Oh, well. Oh. The accent's still there. Oh, well,
so it's fun. Very much a guy that works at the Pentagon trying to do comedy. Is that right?
Yeah. But it's two podcasts. That's all it is. It's two very amateur comedians who never perform live, which, by the way, my best friend and I have never performed live, but I dare say some of our comedy efforts are a little stronger than this. I'm not insulting them. I love these records. Yeah. But if you...
That sounds so charming.
That's part of it. Like, the charm is there. If I remember correctly, there's nothing racist, which is why I kind of stuck around, and I'm like, okay, good. These two couple of idiots are just...
Trip over how low that bar is, but okay.
I know. It's so fucking rough. And so they're just like, oh, well, what's happening? Oh, well, I don't know. Well, yeah, well, oh, ha, ha. And then they'll laugh at each other. They leave that shit in. And they're worth it. I mean, just for the sake of listening. But again, this came from 8 hours a year, or maybe more, like 8 hours per sitting. I don't know how many times they sat per year. And
it's just what they did.
It's what they did. And like, my best friends and I always, when we got together, would shoot stuff or record stuff. And I was just like, these guys were us in the 60s. So you felt
a real kinship towards them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And because they're just hanging out, having fun.
It's so good. And like,
really fun.
Yeah. And the art's
the word amateur means lover of. And so that seems
fair.
like exactly what we're talking about. You know, just people that have fun, hang out, do their thing. And how on earth did this fall into your hands?
Okay, so there's two record stores I have to rep in LA now that I'm gone. I'm sure there's some in Detroit I've discovered. Amoeba's great, but that is not among the two that I would pick. I love Amoeba, and I shop there all the time. I literally did all the time. But I worked near a place called Record Surplus, and that is maybe my favorite for comedy.
Okay.
Mostly because they would have their section for records that were in okay shape, and they sold for usually $4 a piece. Almost always $4, up to $20 if it was like a really good one or a rare one. But then they had the attic, and the attic was 50 cents a pop. So I would come away sometimes once a week with 30 records, which is why my collection got so big, because I would just get a pile this thick from the attic.
Yeah. Just in terms of feet, how many comedy vinyls do you have?
Well, that's a good question, because these are what? These are like 13 inches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5.
Like on a shelf.
Probably, if it were all, it's like probably 8 feet is my guess. It's like, it's like 500 or 600 records, so it's not that much.
That's a lot, my dude.
I got some people who will actively try and compete with me for that number, which is fine. I'm not in the competition.
Not a contest.
It's not, but it's very funny. I know some people who are like, yeah, well, I got 5,000 records, and I'm like, that's insane. Great, that's cool. And I've seen the collections; they're legit.
Are they like 30 years older than you? Can you be their friend and get on their will?
They're a little bit older than I am. I'm friends with all of them, but it's very funny. Like when you can hear a little bit of the competitive part. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I would love to.
You guys should start a library.
This is my thought. I really hope that both of these gentlemen that I can think of right now, out of the several I know, the two I know with the most records, I really hope that happens someday, and that it goes like that's. Yeah,
it oughta.
It really should, because a lot of them also are like. Not one-offs, but so rare that maybe nobody owns them anymore. Like, they might be the only one left. That's
they should start a blog and digitize them all or something.
I agree they should do this, but that's never going to happen. But I agree. I absolutely agree that should happen. That's, I don't know. Preservation is important of this kind of stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so long story short, in the $4 section, I found this dumb-looking record. I'm like, I never pay $4 for a record, which is insane, right? I never pay $4. Yeah. This might have been $7. I'm like, this is too good looking to not buy. Spender. Yeah, right? Yeah. So I'm like, fuck it, I will buy this. And I listened to it, found out they had another one. I said, I have to buy it. Bought a couple copies because I needed a clean copy for my friend Taylor to clean up for me. He cleaned them both up for me, actually. And I just was like, I don't know what I'm listening to, but I couldn't stop listening. And it immediately occurred to me that this was very much a podcast. And I'm like, this is kind of fun. And like, it was a matter of weeks before I talked to Dawson on the show. And I don't know.
How did you find him?
He was in the book. That's the best part, is when they're just in the book. There's so many people who are just in the book. Famous people. Famously, what's his name? Tom Lehrer's in the book. He will not interview, but he's in the book. Oh. He's very easy to get a hold of, but he will.
It's also shocking how many very famous people are just their name at Gmail.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I'll tell you what. It's
I haven't
weird.
experimented with that, but that's what everybody says. I love that idea so much.
It's really funny. Like, oh, hi. Just if you're listening, take your favorite celebrity, just send them an email with their name at Gmail, see what happens. Start it with lie, say you're someone else.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I also interviewed the widow of the other guy, of Lem.
Oh, wow.
And so the one thing that has not come out of this yet that I really want to is I think she's got a garage full of tapes and wire recording. And
Where does she live?
She lives in Virginia. And I
come visit my family.
Right?
And let's go see. Do you know where in VA?
I don't, but I have family there too, so I have no excuse to not go. So
if he worked at the Pentagon, they're probably in Nova somewhere, right? In Northern Virginia?
I would guess. I'd have to find out.
That's where my family is.
I want to convince her to give them to me so I can digitize them all, or somebody who's better at it. But somebody. I don't. Yeah. They're gonna rot. That's my concern. Is that kind of stuff can rot, and you
can tell her. You can plead that case for her, right?
I'm gonna try again. Especially now that, unfortunately, that Lawrence has passed away. She's the only person left who would have any control over this. So I really. Because he had none of his original art left. Because I was trying to not con him, but be like, hey, if you've got any, please send it to me and I'll preserve it or whatever. I desperately want it. And also, sure, if you give me one, I'll take it as a present. But, this art is beautiful. This is the thing into which the most effort was put was his wonderful lettering and cartooning and I don't know. Again, the charm was the fact that he reminded me of my best relationships growing up and still my longest lasting friendship. And it's not a lot of the whole theme of this show is supposed to be about finding friends through comedy, which fortunately for me has happened as a result of the podcast a lot.
Hi,
present company included. Absolutely. And people who, by and large, are smarter than I am about comedy, and I love that. Because I've never painted myself to be an expert. I've tried hard not to. And so I just want to learn more stuff. So I'm just meeting people who are smarter about certain parts of comedy, or people like yourself who know more about all of comedy than I do, so that I can learn from it.
It's not about that, but it's about having someone that speaks the language. About having someone where you can say something and they'll know what you're talking about. That is worth so much to whether or not they know more or less than you. Mm-hmm. The fact that someone has some image in their mind when you say Will Rogers means something.
Yes, yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
Also, talking about this record, this is something I preach fairly often, but I'm a huge advocate of adults having hobbies, which you wouldn't think I'd need to be an advocate for, but I just love it. There's so many people I've been watching, especially post-pandemic, a lot of comedians are starting to let their personal lives and their hobbies creep more into their social media presence.
Okay.
As opposed to just filling it with shows and promotion, and it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Because, you can't post every day about shows when you're in a pandemic, when you're doing one Zoom show a week. But Sarah Schaefer, her Instagram is half her comedy and half her dollhouse making hobby.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And it's so cool. Oh. Yeah, let adults have hobbies, get into something, learn a new skill, learn a craft, something you can hold in your hand or something you can share. I think it's incredible. I think it's really important right now because so many people don't read anymore. So many people just work and watch TV and sleep, and it makes me sad because there's so much out there. So get together with your friend for 8 hours once a year and live your life.
By the way, I love it. If I ever did that for 8 hours and we'd kill each other, there's no way we could record for 8 hours. You know what? That's a lie. If we were drunk, we probably could. Do it. But it's just that is. It's so.
It's a bad idea.
So that people.
It's unequivocally a bad idea.
It is, I think, but it's romantic. It is the most romantic friend thing to me that they could get together for 8 hours and just.
It sort of has. A Sandlot vibe,
I can see that, yeah.
Just kind of I don't know, long days in summer, nothing to do, no responsibilities.
And he specified Pepsi.
It makes me feel like being a kid.
He specified he drank a lot of Pepsi, and that's a very cute detail.
It's charming.
And he did. He sounded like this the whole time. He just had the cutest little voice, and he's like, yeah, we get together every... Wayne, how long did I know that guy for? When did I move to New York, Wayne? And it was just every other minute
Appalachia
was
preciousness.
So fucking adorable. It's one of my favorite interviews. And that made it worth it. That. And then the Dick Davey thing came a few months after that. But the whole process of trying to dig into people's lives that nobody well, I don't want to say nobody gave a fuck about, but nobody was digging into. So,
right.
you know,
You're an archivist.
I hope so. That's how I'd like to feel about it. And I don't know. That's one of my favorite things that came out of it. And I'm hoping I could re-release these digitally or something, because they're not out there, and you know, it's probably a better value if you buy them both as one record, because again, they're not experts at comedy. So you know, it's good though.
Incredible. Okay, number 3. This is Modern Scream by our girl Lily Tomlin. This is 75.
Yep. I'm going to start this with I'm fully aware how white and male this show has been, and while I've joked about it, I have tried to fix it, but I don't think I've tried hard enough. That will be my one great regret at the end of this show, is that I haven't made it white. I have not had enough minorities on the show, enough women on the show. It's been too much of a white sausage party, and so that's why I have tried to make sure that I pay attention.
So is your subject, though.
It's true. This is true. You're not wrong about that. So Mary Birdsong tipped me onto Lily Tomlin, because I only knew Lily Tomlin as an actress before then, and I'm like, oh, she had albums. Like, so much of this has been that. And then Modern Scream is like, it's not stand up, because she didn't really do stand up. She did like these character sketches, but they were like strictly but they were just so very strictly, you know, one person usually talking to somebody off stage, possibly every once in a while. But there's also a mix of the making of this album is on here. There are interviews where she's interviewing herself as this other character who just started talking like this. Well, Lily, it's just like that the whole record. And it's this, and again, I like breaking of the format. I like records that know they are records or are about the making of the record you're listening to, which is obviously impossible and I think wonderful. And I don't know, a lot of people introduced me to like Albert Brooks's records on this podcast, and I love them too, but I don't think hers get enough play, and I think that's one of the reasons I loved it, because I wanted to talk about it more so that people know that yes, Albert Brooks is out there, but so are Lily Tomlin's, and Modern Scream is, I think, the best example of them.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think the other ones are more strictly like, this is one long bit, like it's just, you know, it's and it doesn't have a mix. It doesn't have
this is a weird little mix, yeah,
and I like that. I like records that can't strictly be nailed down to it's just a sketch record, it's just an improv record.
It is one of the weirder things on this list, just in terms of categorization. It kind of defies that. My favorite was the one with her. Oh, excuse me. No, how about you go?
No, well,
in a rare moment of difference.
Hold your thought, though, please, because I want to hear what you have to say. But my friend Tennille had never listened to a comedy album at all before when I invited her on the show. And I'm like, she's like, do you have any suggestions? But I didn't know that meant she'd never heard one, period. So I'm like, yes, I do. Listen to Modern Scream, and we'll talk about it. And we had a frank discussion about what she liked and what she didn't like. She had no like loyalty to speak of. She didn't have to be nice to Lily Tomlin in what she liked and didn't. And it was and then she's like, oh, I've never heard a comedy album before, period. And that turned out to be episode 300. And I'm like, this is kind of perfect. Like 300 episodes in, I get to introduce somebody to the concept of the comedy album. And fortunately, Tennille's very smart.
How is that possible?
She just, yeah, I mean, she's 10 years younger than me, which doesn't mean anything, but she's like, just her exposure has been entirely different than mine. And you know, which is weird because I guess she probably grew up in a state that I think of as rural, but she probably grew up in the urban part of a very rural-ish state, whereas I grew up in the urban part or the rural part of an urban state, New York.
Yeah, you know? Every state has a city.
Yeah, so you know, she probably.
Where's she from?
Oh God, is it from Nebraska? Fuck, I always, here's the thing. I know so many Nebraska and Iowa people. I think Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken. Fuck.
Okay.
I'm gonna feel bad if I'm wrong about that, but I think it's Nebraska.
But she's from the big city of Omaha, right?
Probably, is my guess.
Sure.
You know, but her exposure's totally different, but it is weird that no comedy albums entered her life.
Right. Like, I would listen to them in the car on road trips as a child with my family before I was aware of what that was.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
Interesting. But yeah, Lily Tomlin's a good one. I know her as an actress, obviously, and I know some of her like more one-man show type stuff because she's won a Grammy. She is like respected as a comedian, but I'd never heard of Modern Scream. I wasn't familiar with it before.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's a fun time. I like it. It's weird. It is also like a very
weird,
odd. And it's a mixed bag where you might not like all this. Like, they're not all up my alley, but I think the mix is what gets me.
Yeah.
And she felt free to do it. You know, she felt free to fuck with it. I don't know.
Right, which is always such a gift. So few people do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sketch towards the beginning where her neighbor comes over and starts confessing that she's been eating rubber, and so she goes on this little tear of like rubber bands, ends of pencils, the bottom of my mom's cane.
Yeah,
like,
isn't it called Rubber Freak? So you're supposed to assume that she's into kinky rubber sex stuff, and then it's so fucking ridiculous. It's dumb, and I love it.
The best part is when you hear Lily kind of playing herself on the phone talking to someone else, and the woman is like continuing to talk. It's just very charming, very absurd, and special, really special.
It's a good one. It's one of the ones that continues to grow on me as the show goes, because we've talked for some records we've talked probably a dozen times about, and while some of them are my favorites, I don't care to ever talk about them again. Ever.
Interesting.
Ever.
You seem to have a real fondness for things that are not easily categorized.
Yeah, I think that's probably true, because while like one of my favorites is like, I don't know, Smothers Brothers or The Purple Onion, very easy to categorize. I love Class Clown, even though we've talked about it a million times. The stuff that mixes that fucks with the expectations of what a comedy album is, that I don't think I knew that stuff could exist before. It was like, oh, this really is the art form I always wanted it to be.
You got to get into the deeper shit to see what it's all about sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that.
And I wouldn't have it.
Speaking of stuff things that people don't know exist, or like a weirder side of things. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Knockers Up, Rusty Warren, 1960. Yes. Oh my God. Let's go. Okay. So I see it in your hands. Let's
number 1, that is not her on the cover. She made sure to point that out. That is some model, just a couple models. That is her.
Why did they do this back then?
Don't fucking know, because I also think she was adorable, and she's on the cover of most of her albums anyway, so I'm not sure what the deal is with this record. She had a lot of problems with some of these record producers. And a lot of people. Can I tell you, one of the most, so I interviewed her for 3 hours with Mike Warden, who should be thanked extensively for giving me his audio recorder for the first 4 years of this show and never asking for it back. He's a sweetheart. And he was there with me. My wife was there with me. We interviewed her for about, like I said, 3 hours. And I knew enough about her, but as you can probably tell from some of my interviews, I do go in a little blind. I just want to know what they have to tell me. I Larry King it a little bit. I want to know what's important to them. So, and it's fine if you go in with all this knowledge of them, but she was, okay, this is going to tell you how fucking ignorant I was, and still am, but you go in, at no point did I expect her to not just tell me this story. So anybody who doesn't know, she was a bawdy comedian who did a lot of jokes about sex that would be considered tame now, but were so risque in terms of she was just trying to appeal to housewives to make them feel comfortable with sex and joking about sex and talking about sex. That was all she wanted to do. And I interviewed her, and we get into that, and but she's so casually, and this is what broke my heart, but also made me realize how strong she is and how strong all women are. But she got into just stories of near sexual assault, or these things, and she so casually tells these stories because she knows that that's just part of how it is. And I was just and it's just
accepted reality.
Yeah, not that she was cool with it. She would obviously be give them a big go fuck off. And I think she was probably an intimidating enough woman. She scared a few of these guys off, I hope, or all of them. But this was a moment in my life where I was that's how that you live as a lady comedian, and you can live with that ignorance for a long time if you're not a woman, and sometimes your whole life. And I'm lucky that she's the person who made it so clear to me, but it also broke my heart, because I don't like the idea that any woman has to go through it, but that she has had to adapt to it in such a way where that's no, that's just part of how you got up in the business, had to put up with men acting how they wanted.
Was it also just a matter of a woman talking openly about sex in 1960? Men thought that was just fair game?
I'm certain it was. I'm absolutely certain it was, because men. When I say men, I won't say men as a rule, but most of the men
I've
known. Yeah, God. But men are always looking for permission to be as weird or open as they can, and then it goes from open and weird to creepy instantly. And I feel sure they'll treat anything as an invitation, which I don't get. I don't understand why that is, but I've known plenty of men, especially in the industry, who are like that. And when you hear the stories, and again, when was this? I think I interviewed her in 2012, maybe very early into the show, 2012 or 2013. And that was a fucking wake up call. And also, again, one of the best interviews I've ever had. And there were one or two times where, you know, she was just like, where I'm like taking the risk of being like, so were you trying to do this with your comedy? Which, by the way, is a huge risk. If you're like, if you don't really know shit about shit and you're like, okay, so I get the impression that you meant this when you're talking about this. And she's like, that's exactly what I meant. And I'm like, oh, I can ask the right questions. That's fun. So I think this was like, speaking with her was like a big moment in terms of, just realizing I could interview people also.
Yeah.
And that
what did she do with the latter half of her career?
She had a pretty big, like, she went from clubs to clubs to clubs to clubs. And then by the time, I'm guessing the last third of her records, which, by the way, if you ever have the opportunity to listen to all like 15 of her records, it's so funny how like every record, a third of it is new, but the 2/3 of it are what was on the last record. Like, it's just like,
I mean, that's so a lot of these older party records, though. Like, that's Red Fox too, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. You can just hear it, and I love it. I just love it. She's like, yeah, replace this bit. But she ended up playing in Vegas. Like, she did Vegas. She did a lot of different stuff. She always hated that she never got to do Carson, because Carson didn't like her being dirty, which I think means he didn't like women being dirty, is how I translate that. And she never got to do Carson, so she never had that kind of career, but she still worked in Vegas, so she did fine. I don't know how much I can even leave in this, but she's unfortunately going through a lot. She's still alive. She's going through a lot of shit right now.
Why?
I know her archivist, who is like also a very close friend, but now Rusty ended up, basically she's in the hands of somebody who seems to be trying to control her estate, and and like, yeah, like, she not in danger, but not well. And so there's literally nothing I can do about it if there's nothing her archivist and friend can do about it. But she's being kept from her and can't talk to her. So it's one of those tragic stories that I hope to God has a happy ending soon. It's breaking my heart, because like, genuinely,
that stuff is so scary.
Yeah, genuinely, like, Rusty's a friend. Like, and that is one of the first times where I was like, oh wow, I had a genuine connection with her. Planned to meet up with her a few more times, which never happened, but we talked a few times. And just a sweet lady, and like, honestly, groundbreaking, genuinely groundbreaking. You listen to these, you're like, okay, these are kind of goofy, tossed off jokes, but
no, it's a lot though.
There's a lot going on.
It's not just a wink, like, it is straight up about sex. It's not just like euphemisms. Like, she'll go there.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
And that's my favorite kind of, not to be puritanical or something, but I love the. I love the old school version of Dirty. Yeah, it's just so playful. It's so charming, and it's incredible. So very much enjoyed listening to this. I know my grandma used to really like Rusty Warren.
Really?
So I think of her. Friend of the show, Nancy Bookman, my grandmother.
I love that she loved Rusty Warren. That's so good.
Yeah,
that's part of it though. Like, I mean, it's the joy is the whole thing. Like, it's the fact that she's smiling the whole time while she's talking about this. It is not, as you say, a wink. It's just like, no, we all fuck. And she doesn't mind not. I don't know that she ever used that word on stage, but she's still saying we all fuck, and we're supposed to enjoy it, by the way, ladies, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, this is feminist. It just, people aren't going to look at it as feminist because it's not the prototypical feminism. It had to be done in a certain way to succeed and to still make it into clubs. So,
and what an important mission.
Yeah. To
like get housewives to think critically about their role in this and, you know, what they deserve. That's important. Yeah. It's such a big part of life.
And I just feel like her part in that is undervalued, and I hope it doesn't stay that way, because I think that's huge. If you consider how big comedy albums were at the time, when you consider like how many copies of the first Family I've been able to buy because it's everywhere. That was reaching everybody. Comedy albums were the way to reach people for this period of, like, you know, maybe 20 years. And she was in it, and she was doing something with it. And it's beautiful.
She's another one who I would like to see more in the canon. Yeah. Because it's really typically just like, well, there was Moms Mabley and Jean Carroll, and then every woman that started in the 70s.
Yeah. And they also lump her in with, like, Sophie Tucker and Belle Barth, who were both filthy as fuck. Like, Belle Barth was really filthy and great. I love filth. I'm fine with filth, but I I like her brand of comedy just personally better, and I feel like she had more broad appeal, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I agree with you, is what I'm saying. I have a signed
subversive and approachable.
Yeah, agreed.
Showy, even though this is audio.
It's buried. Unfortunately, everything's packed. So I'm sitting here bragging about a thing I can't even show you.
I believe you, though.
Thank you so much.
Are we ready for number 1?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. This is number 1, 1973. The incomplete works of Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks.
I forget that this is 1973, but to be fair, this is like a decade's worth of comedy being put into one, more than a decade.
Of course. They've been doing this for they did it for 50 years. Yep. So pick any year you want.
Yep. And the first time... Wait, which one did we talk about with Scott Aukerman? I think it was the Cannes Film Festival record. But there's 3 on here. So it's a 2000. It's a 3-record box set. 2000 Years, which is the first one. 2001 Years, which I think is the second one. They did a few in between, like they did 2013, and eventually they did more after this. But then they had Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks at the Cannes Film Festival, which was like, let's do the same thing. Let's do the 2,000-Year-Old Man, but he gets moved to the second side of the record because we've got some other bits we really want to do for you guys. Including Adolf Hartler. I'd forgotten that was one of the characters on it.
Of course it was. Mel Brooks puts Hitler in everything.
So good. And this is... I mean, I was trying for years, obviously, to get Carl Reiner, and I have been trying for years to get Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is my hero. Carl Reiner is maybe the unsung... one of the unsung fathers of TV. And I know that sounds funny to say because Dick Van Dyke's one of the biggest shows of all time. But people don't talk about, like, not only his role in creating it, but I will say this. Alan Brady is one of the best TV characters of all time. I'll say male TV characters of all time because I love Bastards with a Heart of Gold, and that's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Oh, such a good character. Him, Bilko.
Also,
Yeah.
No, keep going.
No, that's it. Him, Bilko, and Phil Hartman on News Radio are like the 3 top dudes who play assholes with a heart of gold. Then there's, there's Betty White on Mary Tyler Moore is also up there because that character's a piece of shit, but like deep down, like she can be sweet. Honestly, and my brain is fried again. Also, Cloris Leachman on that show is also kind of a shithead, but a great fucking character. But Mel Brooks is just... I wouldn't be doing comedy if it wasn't for Mel Brooks, I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so. Like, that's not true. I always wanted to do comedy, but like, it's the type of comedy that I've wanted to do and have continued to want to do, which is satire. And making sure that if I'm going to continue to love comedy and keep doing comedy, that it always has an edge of satire, because I personally need my comedy to have a purpose. So, and these are brilliant. Like, I was talking to Dan Schlissel of Stand Up Records the other day about how I've never heard a pure improv album because they don't really exist. They're always like, they used to be improv, but they were turned scripted, like Nichols and May, or even the SNL record, or definitely the SNL record, but the Second City record from the 60s. And these are in there as well, but these have more moments of fuck ups and like clearly them having to riff when Mel Brooks is being an asshole. When he's clearly throwing curveballs at Carl Reiner, and every once in a while he'll do the same. But like genuine improv on a record that almost never happens. I think like the only other one I can think of right now off the top of my head is the Slam Creek Sit CBB album that they did a couple years ago.
Of course.
And
Creek.
So good. And I want to see a pure comedy album, a pure improv comedy album come out, but this is like as close as I can think of. Someone will correct me and I'm fine. I would love to hear it, but like basically somebody needs to do like a Bat, which is the improv show in the dark, and make a comedy record of that. So you can hear people fuck up. You can hear them bomb. Like rarely do you hear these 2 motherfuckers bomb, but they definitely throw some duds out there, and there's some joy in that.
Right, and that's how you can learn. When you listen to polished album after polished album, sometimes you want to hear the off nights. It's sort of like how watching a comedian try out a new bit on stage is almost always more fun than when they've told it 200 times. Because you want that juice. You want them to be like, a little bit of hesitancy, like working for it, If it feels too rote in comedy, it's often gross.
And there's the thing that, a lot of people growing up, or a lot of people who don't stick around and who don't know anything about the industry, are like, it was kind of this old thing where like everybody assumed that all comedy was improvised, that nothing was ever written. People always used to think that radio people would do that, or everybody on TV, you must all improvise, or nobody used that
right.
word.
Well, that's sort of the goal, is to make it feel casual, esoteric, extemporaneous, all of that.
But I like the stuff. I like the opportunity to let people see what it's like when it is genuinely improvised, and that is mostly, it's 70% eating shit, and most improv sucks. I do improv, and I love going to see improv sometimes, but most of the time it sucks. And it's just like, to be fair, I've probably not gone to all the right places, but I've seen a lot of people eat shit, and it can be funny. And I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, well, it's just human. It's just a fun moment of human vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that can be increasingly difficult to find,
Agreed. And I feel like...
We also just have to say, have there been two lovelier human beings?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Just friendship goals times 100.
Yeah,
just sweet good boys.
They're the other two guys. Like, if we got Dawson and Harold, and Brooks and Reiner. Everybody knows those are the two that we're always looking towards. But yeah, those two guys spending every one of their nights together. I had on Corey Ryan Forrester the other day, and he was telling me that he spent his 31st birthday with Mel Brooks because a friend invited him over to a party where Mel was. Mel got up on a stage, started singing to him, sang him happy birthday, or up on a table, started singing happy birthday to him, and then he's like, hey, I gotta go because Carl and I are having dinner. There was nothing that would keep him from that. He was at a big party, but he's like, nope, gotta leave, I'm getting out. And I was like, oh, that's so good to hear. There's nothing that would keep him from his Carl Reiner. Come on.
They just loved each other.
It's beautiful. Fucking beautiful.
I know, and you don't see male friendship represented enough. It's just so beautiful. Beautiful and charming.
It never gets to be love. It never gets to be romance in the pure sense of the word, which doesn't have to be sexual. Romance can be any number of things. That's why I like the movie Hot Fuzz.
Preach it.
Hot Fuzz is a purely romantical movie, and I like that they left it up in the air. Like, I don't know, they could be gay. They could have a sexual relationship, but that's not what the movie's about. The movie's
Focus
about the
on
romance
what matters,
part.
though. Yeah.
Like the love part is what's there, and like that's okay. And if you've ever, by the way, if you've ever heard Simon Pegg or Nick Frost, watch them interviewed about living with one another and how they would like sleep in the same bed and spoon all the time. That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever heard. Those two, by the way, like if they had ever really, I could have also busted out my Shaun of the Dead soundtrack. That would be the other like more recent, like more contemporary sets of heroes, just because I like those three guys and I like what they put together usually.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you have a million that could make for many more similar lists like this, but I think this is a beautiful 10 you've put together.
I hope so. I hope it had something. I had almost nothing to say about them, but it was a fun time talking to you about them because you had good questions. So.
Yeah, always a blast. Always a blast. I hope you have some fun other projects, and it's been such a blast to be a part of this one.
Thank you. Yeah, I do. I've got a few things. I'm just going to try and not make everything a podcast for a while and just concentrate on the two that I'm stuck doing. I'm not stuck. It's me and my best friend getting together. So, and I want that to turn into more of an involved comedy situation because there's more and more improv, and I want to make more comedy is also one of the things. Even if it never goes anywhere financially, I'd like to just make more comedy.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's him and I just bullshitting about our very boring lives.
Aww.
Which has always been part of it. But I'm like, let's see if we can turn it into what we used to do, which was always making jokes. And that's fun. Katie, thank you for interviewing me, first of all.
Such a blast. Such a blast to be a part of, and fun to go through all of these rad albums.
Thank you. And thank you for coming up with the suggestion for how to do it, because I wouldn't have known what to do. This is going to come out in October sometime, I think. Let me see. Let me make sure I have the date right. This is going to come out October 27th, right before spooky Halloween.
Whoa, that's the day after my birthday.
It is. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm 28 now.
You are? Do you want to promote?
Well, not now in real life.
Sure.
Do I want to promote anything?
Yes.
2 weeks ago, I spoke at the Mark Twain House, and it went beautifully.
Amazing.
JK, I'm still nervous. Hopefully it goes well. When you're listening to this, I'm sure it went great. So you can go to their website and watch that, because they store them all. I don't know. Check out my YouTube channel. Check out whatever I'm up to. Support me on Patreon if you want. And let's talk about comedy more. That's sort of what I do. Does that sound right to you? Yeah.
That sounds good.
I actually, in real life, it's May, and I actually spoke at the Mark Twain House last night, so I'm speaking there again in October.
That's amazing.
But really, really fun. Yeah, I was there with Wayne Fetterman, and we promoted his new book, and we talked about Mark Twain's role in the history of stand-up comedy, which is something I feel very strongly about.
That's good, and I'm glad that he must. I'm assuming he shares it because it is in the title of his book, isn't it? Somewhere.
Yeah. It's from Mark Twain to Chappelle.
Okay, that's right. Okay, good.
Clear line.
Distinct, obvious. Yeah. No, I love that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it's nice having the two of you on within a few days of each other in terms of recording. So again, these people have heard Wayne months ago, but the two of you have roughly the same energy about comedy, and I appreciate it. It's good.
Yeah, we've become good friends lately. I've really treasured that.
He's a delight. He's a nice guy. What's so funny is I legitimately thought he didn't remember doing my podcast. He's like, "No, I love doing it. Let's do it again."
Oh, yay!
Yeah, he's a sweet guy.
Yes.
Katie, thank you again. This is a delight. Everybody should go listen to your stuff and watch your stuff. And, I'm sure you'll have a million-selling book sometime soon that people should read.
Hey!
That's fingers crossed.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening. And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years. StolenDress Entertainment.
Hey, it's my turn. Ah!